Right, let's get straight into this one. I've got a small gate on the side of my house. It stops the dogs getting up there, but it keeps blowing open in the wind. So I thought I'd get myself an automatic closer, but I didn't want to spend too much because the gate isn't used all that often. I set a rough budget of 10 UK pounds, and I saw this. It's a simple spring. I thought, well, this is probably the easiest device to fit and use, so I ordered one in. The way you fit this is quite simplistic, really. You just attach the spring across the post and to the side of your gate, but then you have to tension it, and the way you do that is with a small bar that they provide. You bend the spring back to create some tension, and when you see these little holes here, you get a small metal peg, and that fits into the hole, and the tension of the spring holds that peg in place. It's not threaded or anything like that, and it's quite loose, and the whole thing is supposed to be held in with the spring's tension. Now this went absolutely fine until I opened and closed the gates a few times, and there was this massive bang, this real twang, and this little peg shot out with all the forces that have been fired out of a clock. It was really bloody dangerous. So I thought, well, I can't have that on the side of the gate, so that went back to the shop, and I had to think again. This time I went on to Amazon. I decided to get something where the spring was enclosed, and I thought that would be safer, and this design sort of stood out straight away. I particularly liked the little roller wheels on the end of the tensioning bar. I thought that would provide less friction as it closed the gate. The good news is that it came in at roughly £10, what I wanted to pay, and it's also available in matte black. But I dug a little bit deeper into the Amazon reviews and things started to fall apart quite quickly, and I mean literally, because this device appears to be made out of 3 parts and the spring tension just rips it apart after a little bit of usage. So this one unfortunately didn't make the choice. And in fact, it became quite difficult to choose a door closer because it appears that every model had its strengths and weaknesses, and none of them had a particularly good review. In the end, I had to choose something, so I went for this door closer from Sterling, mainly because they offer a 10-year guarantee, but I'm not so sure that counts if you're going to mount this outside. It came in on my restricted budget, and they had the black colour that I liked. It's also available in white, and also gold for a little bit more if that's your taste. One thing that instantly I wasn't entirely happy about was the fact that the tension arm doesn't come with 2 little rollers that will run along the side of your door. You have to fit a separate plastic channel, and the bar runs along that, and I thought that would create friction, and I think I was right, because when I read some of the reviews, people had suffered a problem where the bar had created too much friction and the door had started to stick. So I'd have to think of a solution when I came to fit this. And then finally, people moaned about the softness of the metal of the screws that were provided, and this is quite common to when you buy things. I generally always use my own hardened screw, so that isn't going to be an issue. And then finally, at least one person suffered a complete failure. I'm not going to be tensioning this too much because my gate is quite light, and this will actually close a 68 kilogram door, a fire door, so I kind of am hoping that this person perhaps used a bit too much tension, and I don't particularly want to try and rely on that 10-year guarantee. After all that, I was a little apprehensive, to be honest, but the thing arrived in a couple of days from Amazon, no problem. And yeah, once I got it out of the box, it's made out of metal. It seems to be a die-cast metal, but it is all metal construction, no plastic, and it's got quite a nice weight to it. It does feel that it has a decent sized spring in its casing. A good thumbs up point is that the instructions are all in plain English and very easy to understand. There's not really a lot to this. You are provided with 6 screws, 4 screws for the main unit itself that I thought were too small, and I won't be using those, and then finally 2 smaller screws for the plastic run strip, which I will be using. Fitting the closer is fairly straightforward. Of course, I'm using it outside on a garden gate. It's probably easier if you're going to be using this indoors because it will go flush straight to the door, but it's a simple case of just drilling the 4 holes for the 4 main mounting screws. Once you've got it mounted, then you have to tension the spring. Now the way you do this, they supply you with a little silver bar that screws into a centre circular collar. This has a series of holes threaded and drilled at 90-degree angles. And it's a little bit trial and error. You sort of twist the collar round, attach the closing arm, and then test it out on the door. If you need to increase the tension, then you turn it round another 90 degrees and try this again. I was quite surprised actually how much tension you have to put on the spring, even to close a very lightweight garden gate. Once you've got the tension how you like it, you can then go ahead and fit the plastic running strip. This is what the control arm is going to slide along. Now mine seemed to slide quite easy, but as I'd read that people have had problems with this in the past, and I'll be using this also outdoors, I decided to add just a little bit of grease. You might maybe use perhaps Vaseline or something indoors, but I think this just helps with the friction and hopefully will make the gate close a bit smoother. And well, that's about it. Job done. Now a few people had complained that the spring inside the unit squeaked when their doors open and close. I haven't noticed that, but as I say, I'll be using it outside, so that's not going to be a problem. I'll keep an eye on this, and I'll update the description if it breaks or I have any problems, but it seems to work absolutely fine, and for £10 I'm pretty impressed. And that's it, that's the end of the video. I'd just like to say thanks for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if it's helpful, and please stay safe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers now.